Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for having us and for such a great event. It's really amazing to be here today. And thank you for joining me for my presentation. I am Adem, the co-founder and CTO at Relai. And today I would like to take you on a journey. I would like to tell you the story about Relai, how we built it, how we start, where we are today, and to tell you more about how to build a Bitcoin unicorn. So first of all, obviously, I would like to start with a quick intro about who we are and what we do. So at Relai, we provide a mobile app for iOS and Android users to let them easily buy and sell Bitcoin. Our promise is to buy and hold your Bitcoin in 1 minute. There is no registration or verification required, as simple as just installing the app and creating an order. You can start from a low amount, as low as 10 euros or 10 Swiss francs, and this 24/7. We provide an instant payment features that let you buy Bitcoin also during the weekend and the evenings. We also have an auto-invest plan, where the idea is that you would just set up your savings with us in Bitcoin in a weekly or a monthly fashion and forget about it. So every week or every month, you will automatically receive your Bitcoin without doing anything. And all of this, and this is very important, all of this with the user having full control over the Bitcoin wallet that is integrated in the app. This is called a non-custodial wallet. It means that even if something were to happen to Relai, the users have no risk of losing any funds. And thanks to that, our users love us. Based on a recent survey that we run this year on more than 1,000 Relai app users, more than half, actually 65% of our users, said they would be very disappointed if they couldn't use Relai anymore. And this is a very good sign for us, and I would recommend any founder, any entrepreneur to do this on projects they are running. In terms of number, we reached 250,000 app downloads. We have about 80,000 active users and about 20,000 active referrers. So we have implemented a referral program where the idea is that anyone could have a code, share the code with other users, and earn some Bitcoin just because they share their code. It's as simple as that. And we have pretty good ratings on many platforms, Trustpilot, the Android Play Store, and the iOS App Store. So now I would like to take you back a few years, actually 4 years. This was in March 2019 in Zurich at the F10 hackathon, where we came together with a first team just to hack something around, to build something. We already had the idea of Relai, but we didn't have anything in our hands yet. And the idea was to put the first lines of codes during that hackathon. So we managed to get a few people together, Julian and I, and started working a bit. We actually made it to the finals for that hackathon, and it was a very good learning experience. Then from that picture, only me and Julian, the one with the funny glasses, kept going. And this is how we look like today. After 3.5 years, this picture was taken in May 23 in Istanbul during our Relai Summit. And actually, there is more. A few people were missing in that picture. We are today more than 20 full-time employees. And that's why today I think I am here also to tell you about how to build a Bitcoin unicorn, as we are heading to be the first European Bitcoin unicorn, and I hope this will also give you some excitement to keep going. But first, obviously, we need to agree on the definition of what a unicorn is. It's pretty simple, and most of you probably know about it already. A unicorn is a privately held startup which has a valuation over $1 billion. So 100% of the company is equal or greater than 1 billion. And this is a dream for every entrepreneur, obviously, to reach the status of unicorn. This is a great achievement, and that's where we are heading to. And for that, I believe there are 5 very important pillars, and I will take you through these different pillars while giving you concrete examples and the story about what or how we handled it at Relai. So the first one is the core team. And some of you might be surprised why I'm starting with the core team and maybe not from the ID, because I believe the core team is even more important than the ID. And as the saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Just the power of having 2 or more co-founders together working on one simple ID, sharing the vision is really, really strong. And I like this Venn diagram because these 2 colors are 2 persons, and the idea is to have a team where you would be complementary. This is like a marriage where you have 2 persons and everyone brings their own kind of expertise or ideas or ways of thinking, and together they bring much more ideas on the table. So I think it's very important to be complementary. Introvert, extrovert, from academia, from industry. There are many examples, but it helps a lot to have 2 people bringing in their own expertise to the table. That's exactly what happened with me and Julian. Then to share the vision. The next topic is the ID, but even before the ID, you need to make sure that at least the core team, the co-founders, share the same vision. Why are you waking up every morning? Are you excited about what you will be working? Is it really something that you believe will have any impact in the world? That is critical. It's obvious, but it's very critical. And then enjoying the journey. I will come back to the journey at the end, because I think that's a funny one. But that's also very important that for us, it's been already more than 4 years, and we have many more years to go. You really need to enjoy the journey if you want to keep going. The second topic is then about the ID. And I kept it as second because it's still important, but I believe that IDs are worthless. Execution is key. So as entrepreneurs, what you should be doing is looking for problems, literally looking for problems, and coming up with any solution that you think is solving a problem. That's all you need to do. You don't necessarily have to be the next Google or the next Apple or the next Tesla. I'm not saying you not to be, but you don't have to. But any idea that is solving a problem, any solution is worth thinking about and discussing and probably building something around it. But some planning goes a long way. So it's not because you had an idea that it will just work on its own. You still need to have some demand for it. You still need to be at the right time, at the right place, and you need to execute. And I will come back to the execution in a moment. I just want to share the simple idea that we had at Relai, which is how easily can our users buy Bitcoin? And it's as easy as 4 steps. The first one was very obvious. You install the app. The second one, you create an order. You tell us how much you want to buy and how frequently. The third one, you send us the funds. And the final one, you get the Bitcoin. That's it, as simple as that. And the whole business around Relai that we built today is all around this main idea about making buying Bitcoin very easy. So we have the idea, and then I talked about execution because we tend to be perfectionists. We tend to just wait for everything to work, and then we just go live. And I really like this tweet that I shared actually a few months ago. Today we have a team of more than 10 developers. We have processes in place. We have automated tests running. So there is really no chance that we will integrate some bugs in the code here and there. But this is not how it was 3.5 years ago, when I just implemented the first version and it went out. And these are more technical terms, but there were no tests running, there were no checks running. We didn't even have proper test groups. It was more a bit of a freestyle approach, if I may say. But this was necessary, because otherwise I would just be waiting on my corner, just keep working. And this goes back also to the complementary aspect. This is something that I could work on this project for 10 years and never release it, but this is where Julian came in and was clear that we need a deadline and we need to launch. And our deadline was July the 1st, 2020, so we had 3 months. And whatever happens after these 3 months, we will just go live in the App Store. And then we'll see. And maybe something a bit more visual, a bit more clear here is also about the different versions of the app that we had. So the one on the left is the one that I designed, quote unquote. I don't know if you can call that a design, where I would just grab some icons from open source projects, put colors, the Relay blue and the Bitcoin orange, and just put something together. And the one on the right, although it's not the latest design, is much clearer, much more professional. Why? Because we can now afford, and we have a full-time UI UX designer in the team, so that helps tremendously with getting there. So again, don't focus too much on perfectionism. Execution is key. Just start putting something out there in front of your users. The third topic is vision. And I touched a point already a bit on that in one of my first slides about the core team. But this goes beyond the core team alone. The vision has to be shared across the whole company. It can be with investors, it can be with other team members, but it has to be shared. This is the same for the culture, the mission, and any values that we want to be part of the company. Something that is called the company culture is very important, and we try to make sure that at Relay we have a strong culture. And one thing that we care a lot is simplicity. We try to make sure that everything is simple. Even if by default it has to be complicated, we try to make it as simple as possible and make sure that we all share the same vision. Whoever wakes up in the morning at Relay really believes in Bitcoin, that it is the saving technology of the future, and they really work on making it happen. The fourth one only, actually, is about money. And although money is important, is not everything. And it's a bit funny because the title is about being a unicorn, where there is a valuation involved. And now I'm telling you that money is not everything. But initially, you shouldn't focus too much on just getting money and getting started. So maybe just back to our story, how it happened. During this hackathon, we didn't have any investors, no money at all. And we just kept working on our projects aside. And we realized pretty quick that this was not going to work. When we went to see a few investors, they asked us how much we were invested in building Relay, and we said, well, we work a few hours per week here and there, and we also have our own projects, because we have bills to pay, right, at the end of the month. And then obviously, no investor in this world will put their money in a project where you're not even willing to put your time. So it's not their problem that you need money to pay your bill. That's your problem. You need to find a way to find a solution. But you need to be completely invested and working full-time, if not 200% on your project, to make sure that you can also convince other people to join you. And for that, there are different approaches. One can change a bit their lifestyle. It's more on the personal level. There is also the solution of the 3 Fs, family, friends, and fools, where you can relatively easily get your first investment round. That would be more than enough just at least to get started with a project. And that's literally what we did. We had 2 first angel investors. It was an amount of around 15,000 Swiss francs, 1.5. And we just had to make sure that with this money, we can get an MVP out. So what we did is April the 1st, 2020, and that's not a joke. We started April the 1st, 2020, and we said we work until July the 1st, and we release whatever we have on July the 1st. And we just need to make sure that we do this with this 15K, and this is exactly what we did. And on July the 1st, 2020, we were live in the 2 app stores. There are a few things you still need to consider early on, still money related, is, for example, things like, are you more into a bootstrap way, or do you want to become more a VC-backed one? For us, it was pretty easy. We always wanted to become big and build a unicorn, and this was obviously more easier to go the VC way. That's what we did. We already have a few successful rounds with big VCs involved. But for some of you, it might be more the bootstrap way. You might be willing to work alone, maybe more of a nomad lifestyle. You don't want to depend, or you don't want to get in touch with other people. You want to be the only one taking decisions, and this works pretty well for bootstrapped solution. And then the last topic, obviously, as entrepreneurs and co-founders, be it for yourself or for the business, you need to make sure that there is enough money in the bank. So here, for the anecdote, and this might happen for different projects, is initially we were very focused on profitability. The main goal was to become profitable, because if you become profitable, you're completely independent, right? You can just do your own business, you don't need any external money flowing in, and you take your own decisions. But then we realized that actually profitability can be a blocker for innovation. Because you focus so much on keeping the money in the bank, you don't spend that money on innovation, obviously. So it is a bit an on and off topic. There are times where you will try to get profitable and you will get close to it, you will even succeed. And there are times where you will care more about progressing. You will just invest whatever is left to a feature that you believe will bring in more revenue. So these are things that you would need to consider while building your successful startup. And last but not least is the team. The team is critical, especially because you will be small, you will stay small for quite some time. We are 23 full-time employees, but it's still relatively small that one new person joining in can make it or break it. So that's why you need to hire slow and fire fast. You need to take quick decisions when it comes to firing, but for hiring, you need to make sure that you hire the best person you can. And this means you have to be opportunistic. If that person presents himself or herself, but you don't have the fundings or it's not the right time, you need to get the fundings or you need to make it the right time to get that person in a way or another. It can be part-time, it can be with a small contract here or there, but if it's someone that you really believe is going to bring the change that you need to your team, you just have to make sure that that person can join you as soon as possible. And at some point, you will just be in a continuous hiring mode. Initially, you will not care much about it, but at some point, the more you grow and the more hiring and firing or changing the team will become something more common. And I would also recommend initially to start with all-rounders. So what I call as all-rounders is people that are more comfortable in different domains. So for me, coming from the tech, we have one part that is the mobile app and one part that is a server, so back-end, front-end. And initially, I would go with developers that are called full stack, that can do both. Because I just need to be quick, we just need to put the product out there in front of our users. And then over time, the more these products will grow, and the more you will need specialists, because you will need to fine-tune these systems. Initially, you don't need to worry about fine-tuning, but over time, you will need to, and then you can start thinking about getting more specialists in the team. And the more the team grows, and the more the communications get messier. So especially these days with remote work, which I'm a big fan of, although we still keep our weekly, at least 1 day a week, Zurich office day, it's getting very, very complicated to deal with a team growing. So here I really like this presentation where you see the last one with 14 people has 91 lines. You might think that you don't need everybody to talk to everybody, but 14 people is still very small. Even us at 23 people, everybody knows everybody, and there is always some interaction involved with other team members. And there, it is your responsibility to make sure that you have a proper system in place, be it some sort of tools. For example, we use Slack in the company for communication, or events. We have twice a year what we call a Relai Summit in different places around the world, where we gather the whole team from wherever they are, and we meet for a week in that city just to have fun and also to work as well. So these were the 5 pillars, and I kept the journey part at the end, which I don't really consider a pillar on itself, but I would like to talk a bit about the journey because it is a very interesting one. And as the first point says here, hard work pays off. Hard work always pays off. So whatever you do, whatever is your idea, whatever is your team, you need to put the work in, and it will pay off. The worst that could happen is that you will be learning a lot at the end of that project or business or whatever, which I think is still a pretty cool thing. Then there is the topic of work-life balance. Again, you will need to take decisions. Sometimes you will need to hurry up. Sometimes you will need to take your time. So for the funny part, we had our first child was born in June 27th. And on July the 1st, we launched Relay. Just 3 days after, we just launched Relay. So this last 3 years and a half were pretty busy and pretty intense, but I really enjoyed them. And it was like growing 2 babies at the same time. And this is up to your personal lifestyle, obviously. You might have a family, you might have responsibilities. And the best thing here is to have someone that could support you in your ID and in your day-to-day work. And the other one is dealing with fire, or fires in plural. You will always have fires to deal with. You will just get rid of one while the other is starting. And sometimes you will have 2 of them to deal with. And there the idea is to make sure that you prioritize the right fire at the right time. Not all of them have the same importance or priorities. It's your job to make sure that you deal with the highest priority first before going to the next one. And this is something that we still deal a lot at Relay, obviously, and I really like these screenshots. This is just some screenshots from our Slack communication, where be it from the development team, from the leadership team, from the support team, complaining about, oh, is this service down? Are we down? It's not working. This is also not working. And it's up to you to just deal with all these fires. But again, it's part of the journey, and I think that's also what makes it really exciting. And I would like to leave you with this graph. I'm not going to the details. This one is a cliché. It's a very common one. You probably have seen it many, many times. That the dotted line for me is more of a non-entrepreneurial lifestyle, where you have more of a flat line there. And the other one, with all the different phases, is how we live our lives, right? So the way I like to put it is, there will be highs and lows, and the highs are higher, and the lows are lower, but the main thing is to enjoy the journey. And with that, thank you very much, and enjoy the conference.